So today, we're playing the Reaper, and we have insanely fun debuffing builds. We're rocking dual prismatic swords, and the CURSED DAGGER. We turbo inflict debuffs like crazy as we scale our crit chance. But hey, check it out, and let me know what you think of it. Okie dokie, let's go jump some random games with a random character and see what we're going to get today. So it looks like we're playing the Reaper. We do start off with a bag of stones and a blueberries. So we're going to be grabbing a broom for the get-go. That's a second bag of stones, which is kind of interesting, but I'm not going to be taking it. I think it's a little bit of a throw to actually grab it. I'm going to be grabbing a shiny shell. Wooden sword is kind of nice. Do we craft up a shell totem? I think we actually do. We could take a garlic. Garlic might not be a bad call either, but I actually want to roll looking for another shiny shell. Bit crazy, but I'm just going to reserve our leather bag for now. But actually, I might sell our bag of stones. We don't exactly need it that much. We could grab a banana, which I'm thinking strongly about doing. Now I'm going to move on. I did want to keep a bag of stones to grab some stones, but with no stones, it literally does nothing. And I don't exactly want to lose this first round, so we're going to be selling it. We could have saved it for the future, but this is our best opportunity to actually win this round. And so far, not even looking close whatsoever. Smashing even. Just pausing the video here very quickly, just to ask you to subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks. Now let's get back to the video. We got a shell totem, and a stone decides to show up. Now, talking about trying to win our rounds, we're going to be grabbing a hell of a lot of storage, which is a little less than ideal. I'm also going to grab this lump of coal to get a bit of a buff, which means I'm going to be grabbing this stone also. So I'm just going to be moving on once again. However, are we going to be able to win out? Our opponent is looking kind of scary with two bucklers, especially a spiked one. We'll be stacking up a little bit of spikes. We did get empower. Actually, no, we got mana from our lump of coal. We got empower from our shell totem. But our lump of coal gives us one buff, and it does inflict one debuff, which is not too bad. That's a lot of empower stacked up, which means our broom should be able to deal quite a bit of damage. Man, smashing. Now, Leaf Badge did decide to show up. We also got a Toad, but I'm not going to be taking either of these. I'm going to be grabbing a Flygaric. Now, this is kind of crazy because that is literally Mr. Struggle's misfortune combo. But I'm going to leave for now. I'm going to be grabbing a bit of extra storage. Let's keep it going. And I actually want to grab another wooden sword. But we're going to grab the stone too, and we're going to move on. So if we kept our bag of stones, we should have been in a pretty darn good spot, but I'm going to leave for now. Our opponent has a pretty awesome setup with double brooms in a Gooberts. They're going to have lots of healing. They're going to be inflicting a good bit of debuffs. We did get one vampirism from our lump of coal, which is definitely a nice little buff, but it's definitely not going to be enough. Unfortunately, our opponent has a pretty darn good setup, and we do end up falling short. Now, out of all these options, I would like to grab piggy bank and find some piggy banks, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be taking it. So it leaves us with mushroom farm, which is really not a great skill. So it kind of leaves us with heavy drinking or just that. So I'm going to take heavy drinking because we could end up getting a big power boost from that. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to roll. I'm going to grab a set of healing herbs, and I'm going to roll. I'm going to keep rolling, looking specifically for a potion. Let's sell our stone to keep rolling for now. We actually managed to get one, but we're going to have to wait around to actually craft it up. Now I'm going to sell our stone, and I'm going to grab this for now also. So we have a high chance of losing since we have no potion. But once we craft up a strong helper, we should be in a crazy fantastic spot, keeping us healthy, so we can stack up a lot of empower with our shell totems, and overall be smashing. However, our opponent is looking quite scary with that burning torch. That's going to be a lot of scaling damage with their own shell totem, and they also have their own helper. So it looks like they're pretty much ahead of our curve, unfortunately. They're just tiny bit ahead of us. However, we could actually win this one out. One more tick from our poison. Unfortunately, we do end up falling short. Now, speaking of tempting, artifact stone cold. I'm going to reserve it. I'm going to grab this bit of storage. I'm going to roll once, and that's a wonky snowman. So we could end up going for frostbite type builds, which I do want to do. Now I'm going to add in our wooden sword for this round, which might be too much stamina, especially with one banana. Our shell totem is 0.4 stamina, and with double weapons, it might be a little bit troublesome. However, with our potion in, we do get a lot of empower, or we should be able to scale up our power pretty easily, and it makes much better use on double weapons. Problem is, stamina is going to be too much of an issue. We've stacked up quite a bit of poison. We've inflicted some debuffs, and so far, not too bad. And overall, smashing actually. But yeah, we're going to be grabbing our artifact stone colds, and I do want to grab our wonky snowman, but for now, we can't exactly do that. But we're still going to be eating up a lot of our stamina, that's for sure. But we should be able to inflict a lot of blinds, or a lot of colds, a lot of blinds, a lot of poison, stacking up a lot of debuffs. And with the cold, I kind of actually want to go for a Cursed Dagger type build. And go for Frostbite Cursed Dagger. And that's a lot of cold stacked up. A lot of poison. Freezing our opponents. Well, you just take a bunch of poison damage. As we heal back up to full. So overall, not too bad. Now if we're going for Cursed Dagger, that's a freaking hammer. But I want to go for Frostbite. So we're going to be taking our wonky snowman. And we're going to roll. And we could actually go for Prismatic Sword. But should we actually? I think we are. We're definitely going to go for Prismatic Sword and be trying to be inflicting a ton of debuffs. I think that's going to be smashing for us. Frostbite, Prismatic Sword, Cursed Dagger. But for now, we do have to deal with a Thorn Bloom, with a Magic Staff, with a Leaf Badge, and a Lightsaber. Our opponent has a crazy weapon situation, but they're going to be offering up their weapons into that offering ball. But actually decreasing the speed of their weapons, he's going to reduce their stamina cost quite a bit. But smashing overall. Now we're definitely going to go for Cursed Dagger, because the more debuffs we do inflict, the more crit chance we do get. That's exactly what we want. We're also going to want this Prismatic Orb. Let's add our Prismatic Orb. Let's take out our set of blueberries. Let's add in our Flygaric. We definitely want a bit of storage. And with that, we're going to be moving straight on. We should be in a much better spot with our Cursed Dagger in. We're going to be scaling up our crit chance pretty darn fast on our weapons. And should be overall smashing. We should have a bit of healing from our heavy drinking. We did proc Prismatic Orb, give us one of every buff, and overall smashing actually. So yeah, we got a Prismatic Orb. Prismatic Sword. We're going to be taking this bit of storage. Now the thing is, we need all our holy items to be targeting our Prismatic Sword, like so. We also need our dark items to be touching it. Now unfortunately we're going to need our artifact stone cold touching it too, which is something to know. And we could also have our magic items touching it, but I don't exactly want to increase the speed because that is going to increase our stamina. We could get rid of our broom altogether. Now the Unstable Recombobulator is a dark item. I'm going to take it for this round, because once you lock it, it will consume itself. I'm going to roll. We could go for staff type builds. We could also go for Serpent Staff, but I kind of want to go for Frostbite, so I'm not going to be taking a Mana Orb. I'm just going to roll for now, and it literally shows up in the next shop. But again, just keep rolling. Now actually, I do want to craft up this Corrupted Armor, because this turns all holy items into dark items, which is going to turn our shell totems and our shiny shells into dark items, which is going to be flicking some debuffs. So that's exactly what I want to do. But let's keep going. We could have also grabbed that heroic potion and actually had our potion give stamina instead of that healing. However, our opponent is actually going to be doing quite a bit of damage with their hammer dagger setup, but we should be able to outpace him with the amount of frost and debuffs we are stacking up. And smashing actually. Not too bad. We got ourselves a Divine Potion, which is actually pretty decent. Now we don't exactly want to take Stunned. Bagtacular might actually be a big play, because that's going to be a lot of stamina regen from our stamina stacks. Hell yeah, I'm going to be taking Bagtacular. Mana Mastery, not exactly more stats. Pretty decent, but I much prefer the first skill. Let's take Bagtacular. It just means that all our stamina stacks are going to be give us more stamina back. So basically for this round, I'm going to be grabbing this stamina stack. We're going to be adding this in. We could also go for a Dark Saber, but I do want to use our Corrupted Crystal to craft up this holy armor, because it does turn all these holy items into dark items for a Prismatic Sword. So unfortunately I'm going to let go of the lightsaber. However, we are going to begin a big old Busted Blade, which is going to be quite scary, especially with guard power. It's going to be stacking up a lot of power, which does increase that Busted Blade damage quite significantly. Our saving grace is if we can inflict enough colds and enough blinds. But unfortunately, again, it's still Busted Blade. There's not much we can do about that. I kind of want to grab the Undead Infant Amulet, but we're going to be grabbing our Holy Armor for this round. We could grab a Stone Skin Potion, but unfortunately I'm going to be rocking it like this for now. But we'll see, our opponent is rocking a Bloodthorn with the Blood Manipulation. They also have strong health pots. Now, I wonder are they going to go for some strong Vampiric pots, because that would be straight up nuts, but they're going to have a lot of scaling Vampirism once these proc. However, so far not looking too bad. The amount of debuffs we have inflicted is straight up absurd. And we do have scaling damage with our Prismatic Sword. And smashing actually. But hey, we got our Corrupted Armor, which turns all these into dark items. So we should have pretty much a 60% chance to be inflicting some debuffs, which is straight up nuts. I'm going to grab another Stamina Sack. We're definitely going to grab this, which is Amulet Feasting. To be honest, not a super great amulet. I do want to roll though, so I'm going to keep moving. I do really want to find an actual Hunger Blade. I'm going to sell our Lumpical to actually grab this bit of storage too. I'm going to flip this to this side and actually have our food items triggering a little bit faster. Might as well make use of this amulet for now as we move on. So 60% chance of inflicting some debuffs is pretty damn good. Now we also want to find some more Prismatic Orbs because that does give us a bit of lifesteal too. And just a hell of a lot more awesomeness. And so far, this is actually looking insanely awesome for us, for sure. And smashing, actually. Now, our opponent did have the Amulet Darkness, and he did inflict some debuffs on us, but with our Divine Potion, we actually managed to outpace him quite nicely. Now, we could do something quite dumb. When I say quite dumb, we could go for a second Prismatic Sword, and do the exact same setup on the other side. But for now, we definitely want to grab a Prismatic Orb. We do want to set that in. We do want another Corrupted Crystal along with this armor. That should also be fantastic. But again, I'm going to roll on with this. Now, this Prismatic Orb is going to be super fantastic with our Prismatic Sword. Because now we get some lifesteal, attacks a little bit faster, and we have another 12% chance to inflict some debuffs. Now, should be able to turbo stack those debuffs like there's no tomorrow. However, we are going to begin another big old Busted Blade. And if they do get one more hit off, we're pretty much insta-murdered, just like that. So we did lose RNG with a 45% accuracy. Our opponent did actually manage to hit us, unfortunately. Now the crazy thing is, I kind of want to craft a Vampiric Potion. So I'm going to be grabbing this Bloody Amulet. But I also really want to grab this Corrupted Crystal. Now I'm going to place it in our armor so we get a little bit more block actually, instead of inflicting some more debuffs. So I'm going to rock on. So we should get even more lifesteal from this, which shouldn't be too bad. And every time we start to inflict some debuffs, we do get some more blocks, so it should work out pretty nicely with our setup. We should have healing and we should have block as we inflict our debuffs. And actually, awesome. Now, if we did have a Frostbite, we would be in a crazy good spot. We're still rocking a Broom, which is less than ideal. But hey, we'll see. So we only have a 30 DPS, which is not great. To be quite honest, our heals is 20 healing per second, which is still not great either. And block, we have about 12 per second. Corrupted Armor being the vast majority of it, and a Corrupted Crystal, not doing too bad either. But let's see if we can make this a lot crazier for now. And speaking of crazier, we're going double Prismatic Sword. We're going to sell our Broom. We're going to grab this Fanny Pack also. We're going to grab our armor. We're going to roll once. We're going to grab any shiny shells that we do see. And we're probably going to need the storage too. But hey, we're going to move on. And this is going to be kind of a crazy setup that we're going to have to try and figure out. But we'll figure it out. So we should have tons of armor. But once we get our second Prismatic Sword in, we should be able to inflict a crazy amount of debuffs. Potentially. Our opponent is also doing something similar, except they do have a Blood Gubbert, and they're going to have a crazy amount of Vampirism. Which I mean is going to be definitely scary. So unfortunately, it's really not looking good. We do end up falling short, unfortunately. But hey, we got our Corrupted Armor. But before we do sort all this out, I'm going to roll. gonna grab this bit of storage. Let's keep rolling for now. And one more time. Now that is a holy item, which I do actually want to grab. But for right now, I'm gonna have to sort the inventory out, so I'll be back in a second while we do that. So at this point, I'm actually gonna sell our amulet feasting. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to sell a snowball, which is a little bit less than ideal, but I definitely want to grab this glowing crown. Now we should be in a super fantastic, awesome spot with our prismatic sword in this position. Now we could also change it to be actually touching our prismatic sword. But to make use of our artifact stone colds, kinda needs to be in this direction, unfortunately. Now I think we're actually gonna have it this way for now, which definitely looks a bit different and we're not making full use of artifact stone colds. But it does mean this prismatic sword should be able to inflict a crazy amount of debuffs. We do have a dark item on every single slot. I would much prefer having our artifact stone cold in between our 2 prismatic swords, but honestly, having the amount of chance to inflict 4 random debuffs over inflicting 1 guaranteed frost, I think is going to be much better. And we do get that 1 inflicted frost on this prismatic sword, which shouldn't be too bad. We also get a ton of lifesteal on this prismatic sword compared to this one, so all in all, it shouldn't be too bad. I'm just going to reserve this storage. Let's keep moving, and we're going to see how this goes for now. And we're going to begin a unique Dragon's Darksaber. Bunch of dark dragons with Armor of Darkness. And they're going to be inflicting a crazy amount of debuffs, which is going to be quite scary. But hey, we're also inflicting a crazy amount of debuffs. And this is looking a hell of a lot better. And smashing, actually. So not too bad. Let's keep it going for now. Now, speaking of not too bad, that's another corrupted crystal, which I do want to take. Now the thing is, I actually want to put it into our armor, but I still want to be inflicting even more debuffs, or the chance to at least, with a prismatic sword. Let's grab the storage. We could grab another health pot, but I'm going to ignore it for now. We could just grab a Darksaber instead of this prismatic sword. I'm going to leave it for now too. Let's keep it going. One more time. And that's finally Frostbite, but it's way too late for that, to be quite honest. And we could also have our potions stacked up on each other. That would be also awesome, but we're just going to keep it this way for now. Because I do want that vampiric. I do want the vampirism on this prismatic sword. And we're going to move on. We probably should have our potions in a potion belt, because that way we actually get 2 buffs from a Bagtacular. That would also be kind of nice. However, we are going to begin a Dancing Dragon, unique Cursed Dagger type setup. And they're actually dealing quite a bit of damage. So you do get that invulnerability, which we don't get any lifesteal from that. And it's looking way too close for comforts, and we just barely scraped by. Holy moly. That was way too close for comforts. Now this is our final round. So we have to be particular in what we're choosing. But I'm going to roll, and we're going to change our setup around to be a little bit different like so. Because for the final rounds, I'm going to be taking this Unstable Recombobulator, which is another dark item, and it's going to be perfect overall. So we could take the Mana Orb to try and get some invulnerability. That might not be as bad of a play. But a 6 gold for 2 seconds of invulnerability. Is that actually going to be worth it? I'm going to grab it and I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll again. And one more time. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I was kind of hoping to craft up a Doom Cap. That way we could also reduce our opponent's healing. That would also be one massive way that we could improve our build quite significantly. But hey, this build turned out to be quite fun actually. Dual prismatic swords into corrupted armor. Now we did put a potion bolt into a vampiric potion, which should be much better. But hey, we're going to see, are we going to fall short? Can we run out with our dual prismatic sword setup with a Cursed Dagger? So can we actually win out? We're going to begin another Dancing Dragon. We're going to slow this one down. Now this is looking actually quite scary because that's a lot of magic items. And also going to reduce our healing with that King's Crown. They did get their invulnerability. They're also going to be able to proc their crown, increasing the damage on that Dancing Dragon. And yeah, they're dealing quite a bit of damage to us right now. And unfortunately, they could actually outpace us. And unfortunately, we do end up falling short. We do end up facing our worst matchup. A Berserker with a lot of damage reduction with a Badger Rune. Okay, so I felt a little bit dissatisfied with the ending. Okay, so what I did is I ran this build 10 times in round 18 just to see how good it is. But the average DPS came out to be about 55.1 and the average healing came out to be 23 per second. But we did find a problem with our healing. which was when our heavy drinking was actually proccing our vampiric potion more often. Our healing did spike up to about 35 healing per second, which is pretty decent compared to 23 overall. As for block, our block was finite at 170 because we had 2 corrupted armors. Now, it would have been better if we added in a corrupted crystal into our armor, that's for sure. And so where this build actually shines. It's good, again, scaling builds. Any builds that take time to scale their buffs, we should be able to smash them out. Because we slow them down, we make them miss, everything like that. Now the problem is, where this build is actually weak, it's really weak again burst builds that deal that damage super fast, and also builds that resist debuffs. Now that's not cleansing them, it's resisting them, such as the Berserker's items. They have a good chance to resist some debuffs, and the Poison Ivy from the Ranger is also capability of resisting debuffs. So it's super unfortunate, but it is what it is. We did only survive 1 life left here, but I just want to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, or even consider subscribing, and I hope to keep looking for the next one. See you next time.